Good morning and welcome back to my channel. So the video that I wanted to share with you today is just going to be a really quick video about the books that are on my March to be read list. And so I'm just going to start off with the books that are on my Kindle that I have downloaded and hope to read and finish in the month of March. The first one, which is The Gender Game, I am about 74% finished with, and that is by Bella Forrest. I was also asked to read The History of Us by Kaylin P. Yerk. I also downloaded The Keeper's Vow by Guardians Book 1 by Francina Simone, who is a fellow YouTuber, and I'm really excited to read that book. I am also reading Write Great Fiction, Description and Setting, which is by Ron Rosell, and Storyfix, Transform Your Novel from Broken. And so I don't love reading writing books on my Kindle for whatever reason. Writing reference books, I really like to have the physical copies of those so that I can highlight it and kind of have it beside me while I write so that I can refer back to it. But these were on the Kindle Unlimited, and they were some books that I had seen at the bookstore and wanted to kind of read through them before actually purchasing the paper copies. So I may not read those in entirety. I'm just going to kind of skim through them and see if they are books that I want to purchase in paperback form. So that is the books on my Kindle. So let's get to the library books. So the first one that is on my list, these are in no particular order, is Daughter of Smoke and Bone, which I actually do not know a whole lot about this book. I think it has a really neat cover and a neat name, and I have heard mentions of it, so I'm really excited to read this one. On the back, it has just a short little blurb. It said, "She had been innocent once, a little girl playing with feathers on the floor of a devil's lair. She wasn't innocent now." And of course, this is YA fiction. Actually, all of these are YA fiction. So, yeah. So the next one is Six of Crows. Now, this is another one that I don't specifically know what it's about, but I have heard it mentioned. I've heard a lot of good things about it, and so I'm really excited to read this. Praise for The Six of Crows. The Six of Crows is a twisty and elegantly crafted masterpiece that thrilled me from beginning to end. That is from New York Times bestselling author Holly Black. Six of Crows is one of those all too rare, unput-downable books that keeps your eyes glued to the page and your brain scrambling to figure out what is going to happen next. Michael Dante DeMarto, co-creator of Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra. So this sounds like it could be a really exciting book to read. Super excited about that one. So the next one, which is one that either people really, really love this book or they really don't like it at all, and that is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. And this is the sequel to A Court of Thorns and Roses. So there is a chance that I may not read this book because I cannot remember if I read A Court of Thorns or Roses. I think I did. I'm like 60% sure that I read it, but I'm not 100% sure. So I do not read series out of order. So if I start reading this one and I realize that I have not read A Court of Thorns and Roses, then I will put this one back until I am able to finish that. Also, I love Sarah J. Maas books on audiobook, but sometimes it takes me a little bit to actually read them. They're a little hard for me to get through. They kind of lose my attention, but they're still really good and I do enjoy them. So there's that one. Next Next up is a set of 2 in another series that I am super excited to read about, and that is Book 2, Prodigy, and Book 3, Champion. Of the first book was Legend, and I absolutely loved that. I started it on audiobook and had to return it before I was finished, so then I ended up getting the hardback copy and reading that. And so I was super excited to see that both of these were available at the library. And probably out of all of the books, these are the 2 that I am most excited about reading. All right, so I have 3 more. So the next one is Elusive. I have not heard of this book. I have not heard of this author. It just sounded kind of interesting. It's about superheroes, and it says, this would be the beginning of a new world order, an age of real superheroes here to solve humanity's problems. However, there was only one flaw with that reasoning. Human psychology was altered. Human nature wasn't. So that could be interesting. Next up is a book that I have not heard of. I have not heard of the author. I was browsing the shelves and it had an eye-catching cover. It's called Rampant by Diana Peter or something. Yeah, so this is about killer unicorns. So I've never read a book about killer unicorns, so when I read this, I thought, oh, this sounds really strange, but I'm going to read it because it has killer unicorns, and come on, you've got to say that you've read a book about killer unicorns, or you're just not an avid reader if you haven't read that, so I'm going to read this. It says, Rampant is a thrilling read. I was on the edge of my seat from start to finish. Please, miss, might I have some more? By Tamora Pierce. As swift and sure-footed, a killer unicorn, Rampant weaves a vibrant new mythology from venerable threads. Scott Westerfeld, author of The Uglies. So, I don't know. I'm excited to read this one because killer unicorns, hello! Okay, and the last book on my to-be-read book is a writing craft book by Larry Brooks again. It is called Story Physics, Harnessing the Underlying Forces of Storytelling. Learn how to make your story soar. So I picked this one up at the bookstore because, like I said, I like to these so that I can mark them up and highlight them and carry them with me because it's always important to carry a book with you at all times, and this has been the book that has been traveling around with me this week. I'm about halfway through it, and there are definitely several things in here that made a lot of sense to me and that I am working to incorporate into my novel. Speaking of my novel, this is the last book that I have to share with you today, but I do want to mention that, yay, I am finishing the rough draft of my novel, The Everside. This week I have 20 scenes left to write, and then I will officially be done with my rough draft. So I'm super, super excited about that, and please stay tuned. Please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, follow me on social media, check out my blog on my website, and I will definitely have more information about my upcoming novel for you. So that is all I have for you today.